Alright, good morning. Today we're going to do a designer workshop through Photoshop. We're going to design a couple of things today. The first one is going to be a memorial graphic for my dad. He passed away last Monday due to liver cancer. Um, Before I get started, I put together a little video. It's just a photo slideshow of some different pictures of him. I'm going to go ahead and play that now. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and get started. So, my dad passed away due to liver cancer. And in doing some research, I discovered that the green ribbon is to memorialize those who passed from liver cancer. So, I've got my green ribbon here. Now, with this ribbon, I don't particularly care for this black outline. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to rasterize this layer, which makes it editable. With that, this one's fairly easy. I'm going to select the magic wand tool, tolerance of 10, and I'm just going to select the black area. So now this whole thing is highlighted, and I'm going to paint with white. I like the white outline a lot better for this. Alright. Deselect, and now we're good. So now, because this graphic, once I'm done with it, I'm going to have it on my thumbnails moving forward. I'm going to add a layer style of a drop shadow just to kind of give it a little bit of depth. So we're going to go in. I'm going to make this a little bit darker so I can kind of see what I'm doing. It's a lot harder on this checkered background. And we're just going to play around with a little bit of the distance settings and see what we can come up with. Yeah, I think something like that. Alright. Alright. I always like to keep another layer as just like my background layer so I know where I am in terms of my layers. It just helps me remember where I am. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a text. more like this. Now I may end up changing the font around a little bit. Now I don't like the spacing, so we're going to go into the advanced section here, and this VA, we can bring these closer just by adjusting the VA a little bit. So I do like that. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bend to the text so that it kind of goes along with the ribbon. So we're going to do it as an arc. Now that is entirely too much of a bend. Pop that in like that. And then we're just going to shrink the text a little bit. And then I'm going to hold shift, and when I hold shift, I can move this around in a straight line, as long as I don't deviate too far to the left or right. It kind of snaps to the center line. The next thing we're going to do is I think we're going to add a layer style onto the text itself. But I don't know which one yet. I don't think I want to drop shadow. I think I will do a bevel though. I'm going to do a smooth one. Actually, I like the pillow emboss a little bit better. And with this, you just want to play around with your settings until you find something that you like and it looks good. For me, I like using the bevel and emboss feature more for the shadows that you get out of it than anything else. Now, the last thing we're going to do with all three of these graphics that we're going to do today, there's going to be a theme in mind in terms of what I'm going to teach. And today's is going to be the masking and the weaving. All right. So with this particular graphic, I am going to include this eagle. My dad's favorite animal was an eagle. He absolutely loved them. So now all I'm doing is I'm positioning him where I want. Oh, wrong one. All right. And now, this is another thing that you have to be careful of. So this image I got off of the internet. Okay. Now me, I'm very, very particular about how things look. I don't ever like go halfway with it. So I want you to always remember when you're grabbing these pictures off the internet, not everybody is like that. And I think what I'm about to do will show you exactly what I'm talking about. So I created another layer over here. And I'm just going to fill this with black. And you see all through here in between the wings how there's like these gaps of white. So there's a couple of different ways we can do that. We can take care of it. So now we're going to select and into magic wand. Let's increase our tolerance a little bit. Let's get all in here. Rasterize this, and then we're going to delete, deselect. We're getting a little bit better. I think, though, the quickest way to get this done is just eraser it out. So now when you're cleaning up the lines, hey Nick, thanks for coming out, man. When you're cleaning up your lines, you want a hard razor so that you can get a hard edge on it. See? Just like that. A little bit larger brush. So unfortunately this is going to take me just a little bit of time. I'm going to clean it up as best as I can though. I'm doing well, Nick. How are you doing? So now we're just cleaning up these edges as best as we can. And like I said, this is always important to remember when you're grabbing different images from the internet. Always put them on a solid background, something that contrasts with what you're doing so that you can see where somebody else might have been a little bit lazy when they went to go pick up the render. That's good, Nick. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Once I get done cleaning these edges up a little bit, we'll get into masking this out. And what I want it to look like is the eagle flying through the opening of the liver cancer awareness ribbon. And it's going to be fairly simple to do that. As long as we can work with the mask feature in Photoshop the right way. Ah, so Nick, my father passed away Monday, August 7th. Um, he he passed away from liver cancer, and so the green ribbon. This is a memorial graphic for him that'll go um, on my thumbnails and things like that moving forward. Um, he loved eagles. It was his favorite animal. Um, he loved them for the majestic way they fly. He loved them because they are a symbol of patriotism and the United States, which my dad always took great pride in being an American. Um, so there's just something to honor him before I get into. Once I'm done with this, I will do Luciola Gaming's Avatar. That should be fairly quick. And then I'm going to wrap up today's stream by recreating my channel art. It's been a little bit since I've worked with Photoshop, just with everything going on with Dad. Um, so I'm just kind of trying to get back into the swing of things. I didn't want to go and create channel art for someone else until I'm fully back in the game, if that makes sense. Alright, so that's looking a lot better on that side. We'll knock out this side real quick. And then I think we'll be good to go on to the masking portion. I appreciate it, Nick. It wasn't easy, but I've had a great support system with my fiance and my family. Um, it definitely was. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, going through that. It was tough. I can't really describe it, but I do appreciate your condolences. You know, what's funny is it looks like they took this image off of an American flag. It looks like the eagle was over top of an American flag when they pulled this render. I think that was a little too far. Too far. I think I got a little carried away in there. Dad was Dad was one of a kind. Um, he I have so many stories of Dad. It's for the longest time it was me and my dad. Um, we moved from Maryland, which is the state we were living in. We moved from Maryland when I was 5 years old, and we traveled. We moved from Maryland to Florida, and we lived in a part of Florida called Port Orange, not too far from Daytona. Um, and my childhood growing up was not a conventional childhood by any stretch of the imagination, and that's because Dad was not a conventional person. Um, we we did a lot of different things, and he taught me so much when I was growing up. He He will certainly be missed. He he did so many different jobs. He was in the Navy during Vietnam. He actually served on the USS Vulcan for 4 years. Um, during which time he earned the National Defense Service Medal. Um, he when he got out of when he got out of the Navy, he was actually married to a woman before my mother, and he had a son. Then my half brother Eric. Eric passed away when he was 18 months old, and Dad never really recovered from that. And that's when he got drinking, and that's the reason he ended up getting liver cancer. Is he drank so much. But Dad was a good guy. Not too many people didn't like Dad. He was insanely funny. Uh, I mean, insanely funny. He would just do or say things that he didn't care. That was the funny part, was that he was going to say it, and if you didn't find it funny, sorry. He would never take it back. But that's just the way he was. Alright. I think we're pretty set. I'm just going to clean this part up here. Alright. So now, and see, when they took this from the image that they originally got it from, they really butchered these tail feathers here. But for our purposes, I'm not really as concerned about that. So now I'm going to add a layer mask onto this eagle. Typically, I don't like to erase things. I don't typically like to erase parts of an image just because it is destructive. I know I just did it, but I don't typically like to do that. Thank you, Nick. I really do appreciate that. Dad definitely did teach me a lot. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold Control and we're going to click the ribbon. Because like I said, I want to make it appear as if the eagle has flown through the opening of the ribbon. So now that I have that part selected, anything that I paint, I can go outside this line if I want to, or if I need to, but it's not going to affect anything that's outside of the dashed line. So now I'm on the layer mask, which is this white part here. The way layer masks work is anything that is white is visible under the mask. Anything that's black is hidden or invisible. So I'm going to grab my paintbrush, and when you're working with layer masks, your color swatches, they change to black and white respectively. So now I'm just going to go in here and I'm going to paint just to kind of change that up a little bit. And now it appears as if the eagle Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it, man. I enjoy doing what I do. I really do. So now it appears as if the eagle has flown through the liver cancer awareness ribbon, which is the effect that I wanted to sell. Now, I think what I can do... Alright, we're going to take that off, because I definitely don't like that. And I wonder why that is. Ooh. And then we're going to lower the opacity on the shadow of the eagle. And I think this one is just about done. Yeah, I think that one's just about done. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And we're going to go here. And I've just gone ahead and saved that. Now, let's go ahead and get into something a little bit more fun. This one is for Luciola. Luciola Gaming. If you recall, the first designer workshop I did, we created this banner. Luciola has an avatar that doesn't really match or flow with this banner. So today we're going to create the avatar for him so it kind of meshes with his banner a little bit better. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Have a good night, Nick. Thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it. Let's see. So I'm going to do a background here. I'm certainly going to try, Nick. I appreciate it. Alright. Background here. The next one that I'm going to do is... I do believe it's this one. Yep. Okay. This will make sense in a minute as to why I'm doing one over top of the other. I'm going to rasterize this one. I'm going to change this here. Alright, just to kind of keep everything organized. Okay, so now what we're going to do is YouTube and like Twitter and a couple of the other ones. I think Facebook does it too, where they add like this circle which highlights the image for your avatar. So when you're designing a YouTube avatar, specifically any type of social media avatar, you want to make sure that your image has that border already kind of planned out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab the elliptical marquee tool. And right in the center, I'm going to hold Alt and Shift. What this does is it allows me to make this circle perfectly circle and dead center. So even when I stretch it out to the edges, it's still dead center. So now I have it all the way stretched to the edges. I have my my center part here kind of mapped out. I'm going to say select, and I want to inverse my selection. And then select, and I'm going to save the selection because we're going to need it a couple of different times. That way I don't have to keep trying to draw it and make it perfect each time. So now I'm going to select this image here, the top image. I'm just going to delete away. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I am going to hold Alt and do a layer mask. So now what the layer mask allows me to do is, say I want to reposition this image. I can just, oop, I have the wrong one selected. Sorry. I deselected the little link, and now I can move this around while the ellipse still stays, or I can rescale it. I can do whatever I want with it. But I definitely want to keep the windmill kind of in the image. So there's that. Next. And that's because I did the masking tool. So now we're going to do a new layer. And I'm going to bring the soldier that I had before. And I'm going to position him just like that. Okay? Now I'm going to do the same masking technique in a moment. You remember I saved the selection that I had before, so I'm going to go into channels. I'm going to hold Control. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to hold Alt. And now we have that masked out as well. Pretty simple, right? Now, I'm going to go back into the mask because I'm going to make it look like... There we go. And make it look like just like that. All right. Now, if you remember on the original banner that I did for Luciola Gaming's channel, I changed the red that was on this image. I changed it to this blue before. So we're going to do that again. I just have to remember how I did that. If I go into the magic wand tool with a tolerance of 15, I'm going to hold shift, and I'm just going to select out this red piping here. Okay. Now the cool thing about doing it this way, the way that I'm going to show you, if you don't remember how I did it, is yes, you can just paint over top of this with blue. The problem is that when you get really close, you can see that there's all these different shades of red that kind of give this red a little bit more of a little bit more depth to it. It's not just a straight solid red. When you do it the way I'm going to show you, it changes the color to, I'm going to change it to blue, and when I change it to blue, it's going to take all these different shades into account for the blue, which I think is really cool. So you'll keep all the depth and the detail, but you'll change the color however you want. And you can use it for any number of projects or different variations or reasons for doing it this way. Different reasons for changing color, whatever you want to do. So now we're just going through, selecting all of this red. And it's important when you're working like this to not try and rush it. Yes, I could change the tolerance level up here and it would probably go a lot quicker, but in a rush to get it done, you'll select more than what you meant to, and you'll end up changing more than what was actually meant to be changed in the first place. So just take your time. Alright, I'm almost done with this part. With this part through here. That part was a little red too. And now just remember, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and pop them out in the chat. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Alright, so now we have all of the red selected. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a layer, new layer via copy. So essentially what that does is it just makes a copy of what I selected. For this, we're going to go to hue and saturation, and I'm going to create a clipping mask so that it clips only to the red that I selected. And we're going to go through here, and we're going to change it so that we can find that blue. Just Just like that. Brighten it up a little bit. And I would say that one, that color change effect is pretty much done. The next thing we're going to do is, now that I have that color change in effect for this, I'm going to merge these two because I don't want to change this color anymore. If I did want to change it, I wouldn't merge them. But so now this one, and you can turn it on and off just like that. Okay. This is going to be red, blue. All right. The next thing I think we're going to do... I know. We're going to create a duplicate. And this one we're going to go to Filter, Stylize, and we're going to do Find Edges. Alright. When you find the edges, basically what it's doing is it's going through all the different contours in the image, and excuse me, your sharper edges, like your outlines, they're fully black. And then all of your contours throughout, wherever a color change is taking effect, it's a different, darker line is on there. So, with this, we're going to change the blending mode, and we're going to go to darken, because I really only want to keep the lines. So it gets rid of all the white, and it just keeps my harsher lines. So there's that. Alright. I'm fairly well satisfied with how this is starting to take shape. There's a couple of things that I want to do now. Because then next I'm going to add text. And the way Luciola's channel, his avatar currently is, I'm going to bring this guy over here. And we're going to go to YouTube. I'm going to show you what his avatar looks like. See how he has like this LG. I think it's really cool, but I think I can do something even cooler with it. And it's all going to go into masks and weaving. So let's go ahead and close this out. But in order for me to add this text so that it makes sense, and it doesn't get too distracting, I'm going to start blurring out my backgrounds. So for this background layer, and each layer that I blur out is going to be less blurred than the one before it. So what I mean by that, this background layer, I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, and we're going to do a Gaussian blur for the background. We're going to change this to a 3. Then this background, we're going to Filter, Blur, Gaussian blur. We're going to change that to a 2. And then our character model, we're going to Filter, Blur, Gaussian blur for 1. And we have to do the same blur on our lines as well. And the blue piping just blends together. Blur, Gaussian blur of 1. And filter, blur, Gaussian blur of 1. So now you have all this different depth, these different depth elements going on. The background is really blurred. The background for our character model is less blurred, and then our top layer here is even less blurred than that. All right. Now, I am going to group all right. Wait a minute. see a little problem here. There we go. It just wasn't dark enough. It's weird. Anyway, moving on. Excuse me. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a Bauer font. I'm going to do an L. And then a new one. And a G. Okay. And then I'm going to change the color on the G to a blue in this band that actually matches and looks cool. Something like that. Now, the cool thing about using this Bauer font is that I really can move things around because it kind of all meshes together. You see how like the lines are perfect? We may end up moving, changing the position and the size of these letters, but for right now, I think I'm going to leave them this way. All right. The first thing I want to do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to weave these letters together. I just have to think about how I want to do that. I know I want to do shadows because that's really going to help sell this effect. Take these down a little bit. And the way I'm going to check these is just like that. Alright, so now what I'm doing is I'm what the hell? I think I deleted the layer style. I want to copy it and I'm going to paste the layer style so that our shadows are the same. Yeah. Alright. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make copies of these. So I'm going to select, Control J to duplicate, and then I'm going to group these two together, and I'm going to make them... I'm going to turn those off. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to rasterize this, rasterize the type, and rasterize the layer style. Essentially what that does is it just kind of finalizes that layer style, so now I can't edit it, which is okay. I'm going to duplicate the L, and I'll put that on top. And then I'm going to hold Alt and mask out the top L. And then I'm going to paint with white to make it visible again. just like that. So now I've woven, and this is this is the effect that I'm creating, is I've woven this L behind the top of the G and then over top of the middle part of the G. And because I have my bottom layer here, I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit. You can see the shadow effect that I have on this bottom all the way across. See? Right through here. Alright. Now the reason I made a copy of this L and G is because I may have messed up, and I didn't want to have to redo all of that again. And it's still a possibility. I may still mess up. I don't know yet. Alright, so now the next thing that I want to do is I want to finish my type. Ooh. What we're going to do with that is we're going to adjust that out a little bit, and I'm going to open up this part here because I just don't I didn't care for how close the L and the A were. Then what I want to do is I want to paste the layer style onto that. And now I'm do a new layer. Change this to here. Okay. And we're going to paste the layer style onto that one as well. And I'm fairly happy with that so far. Let's see what we can do as far as moving these around. That's damn near dead center where I had it before. I don't think I like that. Yeah, I think I kind of like that. Alright. Now we're just going to play around a little bit with some ideas. I know I'm going to add some smoke from the gun. Thank you. Add a little bit of smoke from the gun. I could do a little bit of color correction, and I might do that. Let's go into here. Let's do a new layer. Let's do exposure. We're going to create the clipping mask so that it only affects this circle layer here. Can't see the smoke. Let's change this to 50. And let's go to 40. That way it looks like it's coming right out of the gun. Right out of the barrel of the gun. I think this is looking fairly close to being done. Yeah, I think this is pretty close. Just a simple, and I think it ties in a lot better with Luciola's banner. Yeah, I think it ties in a lot better. The final piece. Gotta sign it. We're just going to change the opacity. Down to 20. And I think that's done. I'm fairly happy with that. And I think Luciola will be too. I really like the weave. And when you're weaving stuff together, you almost can't do it without layer masks and duplication. Um, and the part that really sells this woven effect is the shadow that you get when you do it this way. Uh, Adding the shadows onto it, and even the smaller font has a slight shadow on the bottom of the L here. That's what really sells the effect. And then I like how the gun actually pops out of the frame here on the right hand side of the graphic. I think that looks pretty cool too. All right. So that one is done. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And that one is for fire. And we're going to do. All right. I'm going to take a short break. And when I come back, we're going to be working on my channel art and recreating that just to make it. There were some things that I liked about it. There were some things that I are really irking me. Um, so, for instance, the things that are irking me is this black portion down here of the pants. Alright, and we're back. So now we're going to go ahead and get started doing my live stream, or my banner design. So I've already gone ahead and pre-rendered my borders, and I took care of this portion here that I didn't like. We're going to rasterize this layer, and I'm going to change this to the elliptical marquee tool, and we're going to delete out the center portion, just like that. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my scenes. And we're going to resize these. Just like that. The next one is going to be this guy. And lastly, the Rainbow Six Siege graphic to finish it out. So now we have something rough like that. Now, this one we're going to put here. Alright. Now we're going to blend these images together a little bit, just to make it a little bit cleaner. Let's go. So in order for me to do this, I am going to have to destroy these a little bit, which I don't particularly care for, but it's what I have to do in order to create this this banner here. So what I did was I just rasterized all of these layers. Okay. For the siege one, we're going to create a little bit bigger eraser tool, and I'm going to lower the hardness on the eraser to about 20%. Oop, too far. And then we're going to move just like that. And then for the Overwatch banner, we're going to do pretty much the same thing. Grab our eraser tool and just start blending those together. Just like that. Okay. Now, I'm going to make duplicates of these images. And we're going to do the same thing that we did before. So we're going to filter, stylize, and we're going to find the edges on all of the copies. Filter, find edges, and filter, find edges. And we're going to change the copies to darken. Just like that. I'm going to get in kind of close and take a look at it. For the siege one, just trying to blend this a little bit better, like that. Basically what I'm doing now is I'm just erasing the fined edges layer of the siege one. And then the Overwatch background layer. I can kind of hide these lines too with the characters that are going to be in here. So let's go ahead and group these into the banner background. Okay. Next, we're going to add the character renders. So we have Reaper. And actually I want to put him up top, just so I can see what I'm doing. Alright. And see, when you do it this way, it's easier to hide your edge lines, your blends. Just like that. Next, we're going to go new. Oh, nope. And this is not background, this is actually border. This one, we're going to grab this. And now we're going to, we have to rasterize this image. Delete him out of it. Deselect. And now we're just left with this guy. And finally, the Thatcher render. Damn it. Him here. Move the Battlefield 1 guy a little bit like this. And we're going to readjust these in a little bit once I get everything kind of set. But those are the guys. Alright. So now we're going to move Thatcher on top, and then I'm going to change these to blue Okay. All right. I'm going to turn the top layer off for a minute, because what we're going to do is we're going to do a color overlay on him, and this is the blue layer. So what I want to do is I want to find a blue that's really going to pop out. That's pretty cool. So we're going to turn that one off, and now we're going to do another color overlay, and we're going to do a red also that pops out and looks cool. I kind of like this pinky looking color. Alright, now we're going to go into the move tool, and I'm just moving this to the left about five spaces or so, and then the red one just like that. Yeah. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing with Reaper. And the cool thing about doing it this way is Control J to copy. Thank you. I'll be done with it soon. Maybe. We're going to do Reaper blue and Reaper red. Now if I go into the Thatcher blue, I can just copy the layer style and paste it, and then copy and paste. As soon as I find it. There it is. So now with the Reaper blue, I want to go like that. And then the Reaper red, just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Again, copy the layer style for the blue. F1 blue. We're going to paste the layer style, and then this one is F1 red. We're going to copy the layer style and paste it. Now, with this, the way I did it before, and I think I really liked it because the smoke, when I do the smoke layers, it'll merge these together and it'll look really cool. So the red will actually go to the left this time, and the blue will go to the right. So now the blue on this portion here will merge with the Thatcher blue, and the red will merge with the Reaper red. Alright. Now I also did find edges on these because I want it to be kind of animated. And that's the effect that I feel like you get with the with the find edges effect is that it makes it look like it's hand drawn when you do it, when you go to filter, stylize, find edges, and then you overlay it as the darken. You just kind of get this more animated looking, and you can actually change the opacity too to keep more of the original but still get some of those drawn lines. Like if you take a look at his face here, you kind of get this like pencil mark. I don't really know how else to describe it other than that. And we're going to do the same with Reaper. Filter, stylize, find. Oop. Oh, sorry, I already did that. And then we're going to change it to darken. And this one I'm not going to change the opacity of that find edges layer because I really like what it did. And now we'll go to the Thatcher copy. Oh, let me change this real quick, just so. And then Thatcher copy, we will find edges again. Darken. And this one I am going to have to because I don't like the distorted nature of it. So we'll just bring it down a little bit. And I'd say that's pretty set. All right. Now, the next piece that we're going to do, I'm going to add a layer right above this banner, but underneath the characters, the find edges, and the colors for all of them. We're going to go into the paintbrush tool. And I am going to find some of these smoke layers. What's really cool about these smoke brushes is what you can do with them when you're trying to sell this effect. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into my paintbrush. I want to select the blue that I have. Okay. And I'm going to bring this down. And what helps is when you start changing your brush patterns. And because it's the same blue, when I'm done with this, it's going to look like this outline is either forming or disintegrating into smoke, depending on how you look at it. We're just going to keep layering this smoke throughout. Hey, thanks, Cryptic. Oh, you missed Luciola's avatar that I did. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that back on screen for you real quick. All right, back to this now. How are you doing today, Cryptic? If you get really into these edges here and you just start layering, just single clicking in here, it's going to really help sell that disintegrated effect. Oh, Nick left a while ago. Just kind of going in and clicking all of this. I'm definitely praying for you, man. I know that cannot be easy. All right, so that's one blue down. I think I'm going to do one more little spot there. Okay. Now we got this guy. And let's go grab a small smoke through here. And then you see what I mean? Because I did it with the blues together, it makes it so much easier to blend these two together. It just kind of fits better. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to adjust the angle of the smoke brush. Just like that. And then we're going to change the brush. Something a little bit bigger and more pronounced. So now it looks like he's more or less, these colors are kind of merging together to make him up. And if you back it up, the blues are kind of coming together. Thanks, X. I appreciate it, man. Then we're going to come over here. We're going to knock Thatcher's out. Just like that. A couple of extras. And the blue layer is pretty much done. Now we're going to go back in. We're going to hold Alt and we're going to select that pink so it's the same one. Come through here. Change this and just start going through and doing these single hits to give more depth into the effect that we're trying to sell. shrink this right around here. Just like that. So we kind of have that going on. Oh, and we'll do just a little bit more right there. And then come right through here. Ooh, that actually almost lined up. Just like that. A bigger hit right there. And all I'm doing is I'm just like one tapping for these smoke layers. Thanks, X. I really appreciate it. The first one I did was for my dad. The just his memorial. He loved eagles, and he did pass away from liver cancer. So the liver cancer awareness emerald green ribbon, and then his eagle. And then I did Fire's graphic. These two were actually contained in the first hour of the live stream, so you really didn't miss a whole heck of a lot. Then you gotta be sure to come through and give your single hits where you need them. And then these edges for Thatcher you can kind of get a little crazy with because you want to fill up the rest of this banner. I'm just going around and just randomly selecting different brushes. Alright. That is... Now, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to change the opacity of these. Something more like that. That way you know it's there, but it's not overbearing. And it really kind of helps sell the effect that the smoke is kind of making up these characters. I think I'm going to go back into the red banner real quick. Back to the brush. And give it a good one hit here. All right. So now for the hard part. The hard part is going to be the text. I have just not... I really like what I did originally. Sorry. In terms of this wraparound piece here and these connecting pieces. However, they don't look as if they're connecting, and that is the biggest problem I have with this original graphic that I did. It's clear that this is not connected to the font, and that's the part that I hate the most. So we're going to try and rectify that today. And we may end up figuring out how to do it together. So now we're going to group all of these, and these are going to be the... Ooh, you know what? I don't think I can do that. Damn, I can't. What I can do, though, I'm going to merge these layers. And then we're going to do Reaper, merge. Alright, so now I've got the characters kind of grouped together. And then this is red smoke. I always try to name them just so that it's clear as to what I'm doing. Alright, so now we got to find a good font. I believe before... Honestly, I don't remember what it was I used before. I wonder what this looks like. Ooh, this might actually work out. So let's change this to white. Let's go here. I wonder if you can... Oh. That actually works. Okay. And we're going to go into the advanced for the fonts, and we're going to make it small caps. Alright. Let's adjust these a little bit. Hmm. Okay. All right. I think. I think this is fairly close to what I want. Actually, I just got a pretty cool idea. Yeah. Maybe, maybe not. All right. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work with our pen tool. And pen tool, I have a love-hate relationship with. I'm just bringing down a guideline. Hang on, I will be right back. Okay, I apologize. I had a phone call that I had to take care of. All right. So I've gone in. Oh, crap. Sorry. No worries, X. It's okay because I'm an idiot anyway. I fucked this up. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. All right. So now this guy I want to bring right to here. That way I have my guidelines set up for this pen tool work. Which, like I said, can be a royal pain in the ass. Especially if you don't do it right the first time. So this part, boop, here. And then we'll go here, here. Alright, so now we're going to fill the path with that. Okay. We want to put this behind both of these. Actually, I'm going to put it behind Reaper as well. Then I'm going to pen tool. What the hell? I want to delete the path. Now, this is where we're really going to kind of sell this effect. To Control J to duplicate. We're going to take this above Reaper. We are going to do a layer mask here, and then we're going to weave. We're going to go into the paintbrush tool, pick that, and for this I want to weave it over top of his gun. And then behind his back. Alright, so now I gotta get rid of my guidelines that I created for that. Now I need one from this N to the bottom of this L. Alright, so for this, we need one here. We need one here. So that'll be for the top of the N. And then this one here. And here. think what we're going to do is we're going to weave it behind the Battlefield 1 neck, behind Thatcher's head, and then around and over top of Thatcher's chest to the L to connect them together. I think that's what we're going to do. Now, I want to see something real quick. If I do a layer style and I do stroke and I go outside, and then I have to go here, stroke. Ooh, what the hell? You see what I mean? That's the part that really upsets me. Just trying to get this part right. That's the one part I don't know. What happens if I... See, I don't get that. That's really weird. I may end up just having to stroke it, do the stroke by hand. I don't know, though. I should probably stop saying stroke. No, I know what I did. Let me do this. We have this part. We're going to rasterize the layer style so that that's set in place. And then we need to Control J. Take this over top of Reaper. We're going to hold Alt and layer mask him, and paint right there. Yeah, that's what I figured. All right. There. Let me try this real quick. I want to rasterize type. Then I want to stroke here. And then I want to create the layer mask. I'm going to rasterize the layer style and then create the layer mask, and then we'll just paint with white to get rid of that line. And that's how they go together. Excuse me. Alright, so now that I've kind of figured that part out, because it was really irritating me. No, I'm sorry. I did not figure that part out. Something like that. Alright. I'll figure the rest of it out in a minute. So this one, we're going to go here. Oh, and this is actually going to work out kind of perfect. Let's go here. To here. Trying to move this a little bit. And back to here and there. Right click. Fill path. And there it is. And then I can right click, delete path. This is the N to L. Okay, so now this part we're going to duplicate. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, we're not. I lied. N to L, we need to add the stroke. Hit OK. We're going to rasterize the layer style so that the stroke is set in place. We're going to duplicate it now, and we're going to put it over top of Thatcher. And from there, we're going to layer mask by holding Alt when we click the layer mask button, because that fills it with black. And we're going to go into the paintbrush and just like that. Oh. Oh, I know. There. Just like that. Except I don't like the blocky nature of this, so I think I'm going to do kind of similar to the pen tool that I did here with this. You know what? Let's try. Bear with me, because I haven't really played with this idea yet. What if we did something like that? Like a curve. This is just part of the things that I go through when I am like originally doing my designs. These kind of, oh, what would look better ideas. It's part of the fun, I think. And in figuring things out like on your own is fun in its own right, I think. Back this up. And we're going to go right back to the center anchor point. Let me back up. Go right here to the apex of the turn. And then if I come here, let's see what that looks like. Okay, I definitely like the I like the bend. Once I do it the right way. So let's go. Here. I'm going to hold Alt to delete the. I don't even know what they call it. What happened? Ooh. I don't want to go up that way. Oh. That's why, dum-dum. Tie that anchor point in there. Fill that with the white, and boom. I really kind of like that. I think that's a pretty cool idea. It's not as rigid as that end. So I think I'm going to do something similar on that side. So let's go in here. Let's delete the path. This is the N to L curve. Let's stroke that path. Rasterize the layer style. We're going to put this behind the Battlefield 1 character. We're going to duplicate, put this on top of Thatcher. We're going to hold Alt and click the layer mask to fill it in with black and hide it. Then we're going to go to the paintbrush and fill that in. Yeah, I definitely like the curve a lot better than the blocky. So I think we're going to go ahead and redo the blocky part of it because I think that looks so much cooler. And I think it looks cooler than this diagonal that we did in the original ones. Plus, I think I might be able to do something even cooler with the weaving portion of it. So, let's do that. Delete. I want to delete that. And I want to delete that. And I think I'm going to be able to do some really cool stuff as far as weaving these fonts behind and in front of the characters as well. I think that's going to look really, really cool. Like putting the N behind, and then I'm going to do something with the smoke layer as well, as far as over top and underneath of the different font styles as well. All right, let's find here, here, here. Get rid of those guidelines and let's go back. Here. See, I do occasionally like to come back to designs that I've had, because like over time when I learn new things, I tend to go, oh damn, I guess I could have done that a little differently. Um, it's part of the fun to me. I really kind of enjoy that. We're going to go over top at Reaper for this one, just so I can get the pen tooling right. Here to here. here, up, pen tooling is by far my least favorite activity in Photoshop. It's just because I'm not good at it. Oh, shit. Wrong one. Let's see here. Then what we'll do is we'll bring it around and over top of his weapon and then behind his back to kind of keep going with this cancel. Fill path. To keep going with this theme of weaving. So behind his neck, over top of his gun, behind his back, and connect with the end. I think that'll look really cool. Now let's go ahead and delete the path. We're going to do the stroke. We're going to hit OK. We're going to rasterize the layer style. This is S2N. And bring it behind Reaper. And then we need to Control J to duplicate, bring it above Reaper, layer mask, and paint. Just like that. All right, so now next piece, we are going to need to now I need to figure out how I want to weave these items together. So what we're going to do, we're going to say stroke. And then we're going to duplicate those. Oh, wait a minute. Control J to duplicate. Then these three we're going to put back here in their own group, and we're going to text. We're going to turn those off. So now these, we're going to rasterize the layer style for all three of them. Okay. Now, I know I want the Scream to be behind Reaper as well. Oop, wrong one. So now where's Reaper? Go in here. Just like that. So what I did was I selected Reaper. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to select inverse. So now I don't paint over Reaper. Oops, sorry. Swap these. And melt that line away. And deselect. Now, so now it's successfully gone behind Reaper's neck the entire piece, including the S. Oh, hell, I didn't need that copy. No. Oh, wait a minute. Damn it. Bastard. There. Back behind Reaper. Behind the S. Now we gotta work on the N. So now the N, I want to do something even cooler with the N. So I want to create a copy of the N. And I'll put him behind there. So now what that does is it gives us that. This one, we're going to layer mask and hide this piece here. this one. Now, the other thing that I want to do is here, and we're still painting over top of so just like that. So we're adding even more depth to the font. And finally, this part. We want to layer mask. And we're just going to mask out this piece here. Just like that. And if I hide my guidelines, it looks even cooler than before, I think. Let's play around with a couple of layer styles. Hey, Travis, how are you doing? Now with this one, actually, end copy. Ooh, no, end copy. Let's go to the brush, and I should be able to add this shadow onto the end. I'm doing well. I appreciate you asking. Just trying to get back into some Photoshop stuff. I do. I do indeed. And actually, when I'm getting close to taking a quick break, and then I'll be putting my social media icons on this banner as well, and you'll be able to see my channel info and my gamer tag and stuff like that. Which reminds me, I want to go right up here. Thank you. I appreciate it. There were things that I did not like about my old banner that I'm kind of trying to rectify here. And I think it's turning out pretty cool. I might have to fix these a little bit. Let me see how that looks. Into L curve. Paintbrush here, and we want to switch this to white. The rest of this looks alright. Which one are you? You are the S to the N. Alright. And then I need to select Reaper. Change this to black. Just like that. That way it's woven around. I just wanted to adjust. Oh, crap. I wanted to adjust the font around a little bit. Just like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the shadows onto the characters now, so that it kind of looks like this Battlefield one. He puts this shadow behind him, and it adds more depth to. Copy the layer style. Alright, and then whenever you're doing this, you have to okay, I see what it is now. Go in here. I want to go to Reaper, swap these around. Oh, and then we're going to do select, inverse, make sure we're painting here. Swap these. So for Xbox, my gamer tag is slightly different. Because apparently, hang on one second. Give me 1 second. Let me. Get back behind Reaper real quick. There. And this one we want to. Just like that. And then, is it this one? Yeah. So actually, I'm gonna have to open this anyway, so let me find it real quick. 1 second. 1 second. Social media white. So this is my Xbox One gamer tag. It's capital Scream, lowercase n, capital D, the number 1, capital G, the number 1, the number 7, AL. I'll leave that up for just a quick minute. But that is this is all of my social media information right now. All right. So I'm going to be taking a short break as soon paste that layer style. So now we've really done some pretty cool weaving onto this banner with the font. So you have your text, which goes over top of the Battlefield 1 guy, behind Reaper. It's followed through by this shape arc that goes over top of Reaper, then behind his back, connecting with the N over here. Then it goes behind the Battlefield 1 character, behind Thatcher's head, and then over top of his chest. Let me check this real quick. And swap. Okay, and then swap these two around. Ooh. Keep. I need to duplicate the N and put it. I think we need to put it right behind itself, to be honest. Wait a minute. Okay. I think I figured this part out. Sorry. Then if I come in here and I go to white, Control Z, there. There we go. Sorry, shadows and things like that, the detail work, it's just, it's the one thing that I always try to make sure that I'm paying attention to is the details. Um, like over here, this shadow, it's not showing up, and it's going to irritate me when I look at it later. So, that's the end of L curve. Where the hell? This is the S to N. Okay, so now what we'll do is we will select Reaper, and we are going to select inverse, and we're going to paint with black to get that shadow shown back up. Oh, nope, wrong one, because that goes over top, right? This is one of the cool things about doing layer masks is if you do mess up, it's very easy to fix it, like I just did. Very easy. Because all you're doing is you're just painting. You want something to go away, you paint with black. You want something to reappear, you paint it with white. It's that simple. So now we've got all of the layer masking done, our shadow work to give it that depth that we were looking for. I think I am going to take a short break now. And then when I come back, I will... Actually, let me get rid of this stuff real quick. These guidelines. Because I know I'll come back and I'll forget what they're there for. And I'll forget that I don't need them. It sucks getting old. There. So now everything's nice and clean. And when we come back, we'll do our social media boxes. And I think that will pretty much be finalized then. So stick around. Alright, now let's finalize this guy. So what we're going to do is we need our social media icons on the banner itself. So we're going to pull out the pen tool again, despite my better judgment. And we want this over top of the text, over top of everything. So, actually, I think I'm going to do the rounded rectangle tool. Oop. We're going to fill this with white this time. I think the white will look pretty cool. And of course, if it doesn't, we can always change it. Then I want this blue that we used before to be the highlight on this one. And I want it to stroke inward. And I want it to be 3 points like the stroke on everything else. Just like that. Ooh, you know what? I'm an idiot. I can't do that. My freaking social medias are... Hang on, I'm getting a phone call. Hang on 1 second. Hey FGIC, thanks for joining the stream, man. I appreciate it. All right, so we've got that bar, and I think we're going to duplicate, and we're going to hold Shift. All right. Now this is the part that I kind of ran into a little bit of an issue. So we're going to adjust. Do it just like that. And then bring that there. We're going to do that. We're going to... Thanks, Zax. I appreciate it, man. We're going to hold Shift. Take that all the way over to this edge. Just like that. Alright, so now these boxes are for our social media. And let's see. Let's do YouTube first. Where'd it go? What the? Damn it. YouTube first. Banner. We'll just pop it right there. And then we'll go over top of almost everything. we're going to do that. And kind of like that. Alright, and then the next one we're going to do YouTube. Then we'll do Twitter. Pop him in here. We'll move Twitter up above YouTube. See? Shrink it. And then the whole point of doing them in these groups like this is so that I can adjust these if I need to. Just like that. And then we'll open up the Twitter one. We'll move him to there. And then we'll stretch out. And we'll click off. Move that down just a little bit. And then last, we'll grab PSN. Go over here. Move it up. Resize. Alright, so now we're running into the issue of space. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to YouTube. And we're going to resize this just like that. Check. Twitter we're going to resize like that. And then what I'll do is we'll get everything lined up the right way. Okay. YouTube text, we will make that bigger. Oop. Just like that. And then the Twitter text, I'm going to put this above the PSN. And then center it with the Twitter logo. And then the PSN. I'm going to just like that. So we got the social media banners there, or the social media information on the left, and we're also going to do it again on the right. Only this one, I'm going to change it to the pink. So I think that looks pretty cool. And then I may add a glow or something like that just to give this a little bit more depth. But if I hide my lines, we're looking pretty good. Alright, so now I try to keep everything kind of symmetrical. So up top was a video. So let's go ahead and grab the Twitch one. We're going to put that boom right there. And we're going to resize it. Resize again. Then we have a social network. So the next one will be Facebook. Pop that in there. Put that behind. Resize. And then lastly is a gaming platform, Xbox Live. Now, we're going to move these around a little bit. Like that. We're going to have to resize these. Xbox Live. Facebook here, and then Twitch down a little bit, and now we can go into each one of these and adjust the font style. Like that. Oh, so tedious. There. And finally, Xbox Live. Click. Readjust. And so there's that. Now, all right. Now we're going to go into the layer styles for the rectangles. So which one are you? You're the blue one. And what we're going to do is we're going to do... Ooh, an inner glow looks pretty cool. Let's see if we can get that blue. Ooh, maybe we should do the pink. The pink inside and the blue outside. That would look pretty cool. And then outer glow. What if I change this to just a black line? Yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. Yeah, I think that looks neat. And then I may just copy that layer style. Change this to black. And that looks pretty cool. I really like that. So now, the next thing that we're going to do, and this is going to be close to the last, because I think we're pretty much finishing this up. So down here we have our red and blue smoke layers. We're going to duplicate these. Okay. We're going to move these copies underneath the social media icons, but above everything else. And then we're going to layer mask these out. All right. Now, the reason for that is I want to get some of this smoky texture onto the letters and this pen tool effect that we have, but I don't want to overwhelm it. I don't want to take away from it, but I do want some of this smoke to be over top of the letters and this pen tool effect. So the way we did this is we duplicated our smoke textures and we brought them to the top. Then we have it on the exact same opacity and we layer mask them out. So we're going to go into our paintbrush tool. I'm going to reduce the hardness down to 0. And working with the red, we're just going to do some of these brush hits. Ooh. But you don't want it over top of the characters. Swap this around. We'll swap that. I don't like it there. Like I said, we're just working with the pink layer right now. So again, we're just weaving this smoke in and out of the text, just to kind of give it that really cool, it actually is smoke effect. Okay, so now let's work with the blue layer. Actually, let's go back. Kind of want it here. Swap. And then swap here. That way it looks like it's coming through the hole in the R. It's those little details, like taking the time to make it really look as if that smoke is coming behind the R but filtering in through the little hole in the R. It's those kind of things that really kind of give you a little bit more depth to the effects that you're trying to create. Now let's go into the blue layer. And let's have some fun with that. So we're going to come up. Let's go back to the red layer now. over here. Tap that a couple of times. Swap. Clean the T up. That's weird. Nothing there. Oh. Idiot. And I would say that effect is pretty solid. You have it cutting through the smoke, you have it behind the smoke, you have it on top of the smoke. And we did it all through layer masks. We didn't create any more, we didn't take anything away. I think that's a pretty cool effect. Now, I want to see, what if I did I can't do any of the shadow work that I want to do. Ooh, maybe I can. Let's do cancel. Let me try this real quick. Turn you off. Gradient or no, I'm sorry. Color overlay, and we did this in black. And if I put you hello, Angel Nat. Thanks for coming out. You need channel art. Okay. I can do channel art. What kind of channel do you have? Let me go above. Go above the characters. What kind of channel do you have? Oh, a Minecraft channel. I've never done a Minecraft channel art before, but I'm not gonna shy away from it. I think I could take care of that for you. Um, Give me a little bit of time. I've got quite a few folks ahead, and I've kind of taken a little bit of time off, but I can definitely work on a Minecraft banner art, and then I can shoot you a message on YouTube. Just comment on one of your videos and see if it's and set up a time for you. I can definitely do that. Color overlay. Black. Let's figure out why. No, I mean, I'd be glad to do it. There we go. Thank you very much for the support. I appreciate it, and I'll definitely be in touch with you to schedule something up. And this one. Do a color overlay with this. Turn the stroke off. Black. Basically, all I'm doing now is I'm just adding some shadows to the text. I do not have Discord. There. And we're going to... There we go. So now we just add a little bit more depth with the text by doing the shadow work. And I think... Let me see something real quick, if I can even do this. I'm going to Control J to duplicate. Oop. Where the hell did my... Okay, now what we want to do is we want to merge the group. And then I'm going to lower the hardness of the blur tool. Make it a little bit bigger, and we're just going to blur the background a little bit. Just to give even more depth. Angel, I do not know. As of right now, I've got like a lot of stuff going on as far as in personal life and in design work. I do have a couple of folks that have been waiting patiently for me to do their channel art. So I do have to get to them, but I will definitely let you know as soon as I figure out a date and a time to do it. And I'll schedule a live stream for you, and I'll get in touch with you well before then so that you know. I think I'm going to take some of this. Okay. Filter, blur. Sure thing. Thanks a lot, Angel. I appreciate the support. Yeah, I think this will actually work out better. There we go. Just to give the characters a little bit more depth to the background. And I think this one is pretty much done. Yeah. Make sure I got everything typed out right. Because I did that on my first one and I was so pissed. I had the wrong Facebook profile up. Let's go to the blue copy real quick. Swap these around. Paintbrush and alright. I am very happy with this. I think it looks cooler than the original that I did. Yeah, I like it. So now, delete that. And I'm going to drag and drop these into here. And then we're going to resize. And there we go. I think we're done. And that was the last thing I was going to design today. So, just to recap, we did Dad's memorial graphic. He was a liver cancer survivor. I'm sorry. Wow. He passed away from liver cancer. And the green ribbon is for liver cancer awareness. His favorite animal was the bald eagle. So this is for Dad, and you'll see that on my thumbnails going forward. After that, we designed Luciola Gaming's avatar, or his profile, or his account picture, or whatever you want to call it. With this one, we worked with layer masking to bring the picture so that I can, if I ever wanted to, I can just move the photo around. Wrong one. Dum dum. Where the hell did I put that one? Ah, it's here. Sorry. But I can move the photo around however I want to, and adjust it, and we did all this through layer masking, and also through the layer mask we were able to bring the barrel of the gun outside of the circular frame to give it a little bit more depth. And then for the font, we went ahead and wove the L behind the top of the G, but then in front of the G and around, and that was all through layer masking, which layer masking was what made it possible for us to get the eagle to go through the liver cancer awareness ribbon. Then we finished it up with the redesign of my channel art. If you remember, my old channel art looked like this, and I liked it because it was really cool looking, but there were things that I didn't like about it. I didn't like the drop shadow that kind of cut into the pen tool work that I did around. I didn't like the pen tool that just wouldn't connect the right way. There was just a lot of things that, while I liked it, as a concept, I didn't like it as a whole. I didn't like the dark nature of the smoke. The smoke was like entirely too dark, and it gets lost over here on the Rainbow Six Siege side. And we corrected that by changing the colors to something brighter and a little bit more, I don't want to say punky themed, but kind of that style and that vein of design. And then we really stumbled on to the cool arches with the pen tool and making this really flow. a lot nicer. Um, and again, we did that through layer masking. So we have different layers of font so that we can have it above, behind, on top of different layers to really get this woven effect sold. Um, and then we duplicated our font and adjusted it and added these shadows to it, just to kind of give it a little bit more depth. And finally, we blurred our background and we added the memorial ribbon for Dad. Um, this one was a fun stream. I enjoyed it. I hope you did as well. I appreciate all the feedback and the support. There's a couple of things on here though that no, I'm alright with it. It's okay. No, it's not. I thought it was cool. I thought it was done. Let's see here. There. And then I think we will... And then we'll clean this part up. Just like that. And I will drag these two over here. I don't know where that went. We're gonna put it there it is. And we'll sign that one as well. And I think we're done. Until I see something else that I don't like. This has been a lot of fun. I appreciate everybody for hanging out and giving your feedback and helping me along with this. I really do appreciate it. This one was a lot of fun to redesign. The next a week from tomorrow, I am getting married. Finally. After 10 years, Stacy and I are getting married. I'm very excited. We're also doing Dad's memorial service the same day. Damn it. Yeah, you're right. We're doing Dad's memorial service Friday morning, and then Friday afternoon, evening time, we are getting married, and I am so very excited. Yeah, finally. Then Sunday we are having, Saturday night we're having the celebration of life for my dad. It's just going to be a big party, honestly. It's the way he would have wanted it. So I appreciate everybody coming out. Know that my streaming schedule, once I get my work schedule and once we get through this next week, I should be back on a more regular rotation as far as uploading and doing these types of live streams as well as gaming live streams. So just stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of fun. So before I go, I'm going to play the video for my dad one more time. And I appreciate everybody hanging out.